Yo, hey, what? Hype train? Is that normal? I don't think I've ever gotten that. Yo, I don't think I've ever had that. Thank you so much for the subs, guys. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Arrow. It's good to see you all. Wow, that's my first hype train. Well, hey, if two more people want to sub, we can get to level 2. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I was just sitting here hanging out and I was like, whoa, is that banner what I think it is? It looks a little different than what I'm used to. That's so cool. Now you get like a hype train conductor badge. Cool. Well, thank you, folks. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're doing very well. I am. Let's keep it going. Woo! Yeah, you got about 3 more minutes if anyone wants to sneak one. Oh my God, Greg! Holy crap! Hi, thank you so much. What? Wow. Oh, wow, thank you so much. That's so generous of you, Greg. Ba-ba-da-ba-boo. Comic gets one, Sage gets one, Graphic gets one, Nico gets one, Teriyaki Blues also gets one. I'm actually not too sure who that is. But that's fine. I know all those other people. I don't know that last one. But that's fine. Thank you so much, Greg. That really makes a difference. Thank you so much. Level 3? My first one and it's already level 3? That's crazy. Woo! All right. Well, I think we can ride that wave of good vibes. We can ride that hype train. This hype train is getting on the next stop. Let me tell you that much. Let me tell you that much. Woo! Okay, so we are. This is a lie, by the way. We are actually going to be starting the trial. This is this day 2 trial that we're going to be starting. And apparently it's split into like 2 parts, so it's a long trial. I think it's like they do like day 2 trial part 1 and part 2. So that's about where we're at now. Actually, we're kind of getting into the latter half of the latter third, I guess, of the game. So yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff with the bombing of the rocket. It still seems kind of weird that the guy did the thing. So yeah, we're gonna try to get him off. Yes, we're gonna do that. Okay. Fun is gone. No more fun. No more fun. No more fun. Okay, we'll turn that on, and we'll start this data. Bing. Yeah, that's the last one. No, you can't do that. I'm immune to the... I'm immune to it. You can't do that to me. I'm immune. I already saved. I guess we'll make another save. I don't know why it's prompting me to do that again. Is that just the same thing? Okay, yeah, they're the same thing. All right, that's fine. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's all good. You know what you did. Being a lawyer is kind of fruity. What are you doing trying to get guys off? Sus. What's the... I think it's like sussy. Is that right? Yeah, it's sussy. I think it used to be a different thing. I think it used to be like an Among Us guy shaking his dumpy, but I feel like it changed to The Rock at some point, and I don't remember why or when that happened. But it's fine. It's kind of good. There's so many sus. There's so much sus. Yes, okay. December 20th, wow. It's Sussy. In space. Oh no, Judge is gone. Oh no, he's just under the table. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something? Objection? Oh, hi, Phoenix. Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. Yeah, 7 TV emotes are really funny if you're not on a thing that has it installed, because it's like everyone just suddenly says sussy in all caps or something like that. And I just added, Daisy used it, but I just added a new one like literally just before I started. I saw it in another chat. I had to have it. Sources do trust me. There are no more bombs, I promise. Oh, yes. My apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. And then Mr. Tonate self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tonate. Woo! We got the hype train emotes. Let's go. Level 3. Thank you so much. Yay. Choo choo. It's just like a frog in a scarf. Wait, that's actually kind of cute. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? Hey, kind of exciting. We're actually going to play as Phoenix. I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time? Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. Joel Pride. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Taryn, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Donor's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There were two people who claimed to be on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow! He killed my witness! He killed Detective Arm! Yeah, right, yeah, that happened. Yeah, she actually dies in that incident. It's kind of crazy. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim. Of course he would object to that. I knew that was the first thing he was going to do. To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already? Old man. This guy's like 32. It's weird how his bio is not on this thing. But yeah, he's like, what, 32 maybe? Blackwell sees his trial get bombed. Clearly he's angry about it, but prosecuted himself. Nah, Payne's got it. Literally, he was like, I'm busy that day. I have to, I have a spa that day. I have a spa day that day. Because even though I'm in jail for murder, I still apparently pretty much get free reign to do whatever I want. We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience. Little boy. Boom. Mic drop. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving this lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person? Listen. Do you think I wake up with perfect skin like this? No, it takes work and discipline. I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. Interestingly enough, he immediately knew it was her. I guess maybe he had the facts of the case, but like, yeah, that's funny. No matter, she didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? Very well, bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Oh great, it's this guy. Fun guy. He's even got his scooter. Gotta have it. Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have. Of course you have. For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging. Yowie chaos. No, you had it right. That's good. That's right. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and... He stood to attention there. Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? I see this fine young lad as a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. That speech from Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity. But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Yeah, he's got main character energy. For sure. I mean, he kind of is the main character when it comes to space exploration, I guess. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs. Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. Okay, that sounds like a press all statements thing. We shall do so. We shall do it. Detective Bob and rush towards the building lounge together. How old are you? Where were you coming from? The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck and Terran and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. On my galactic scooter here, of course. Galactic scooter. Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space? Of course, it's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships. I see. Then I take it works in 0G too? Sadly, no. With the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless. Well, that's a galactic bummer. I see. So you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick. And when you got to the scene, what did you see? We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. Let's see. According to this diagram, you didn't have to go through the control room to get to the boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could have gone there from the southern corridor as well. Yes, but in her haste, Detective R rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her. I see. So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door, and we saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly, or what they were doing? Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person standing motionless. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? I'm so close, but without evidence, I can't prove that person's the third party. I don't relish in this, and I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. Hold on. Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The light they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck. Isn't that correct? I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder. Murder. When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director? Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time. After he peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark, and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd. The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way. All things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well, if we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. What? Oh, man. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. And he's right. I don't have any proof yet. Still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I'd better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes. Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Ha, there's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arms raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer. Yeah, that's cop brain for you. Your first instinct is to reach for your gun. Oh, God. I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Art from firing her gun? Phoenix in this game. He's written simultaneously as an experienced veteran, the same bubbling and experienced oaf he was in the original trilogy. Yeah, there's only so... I feel like there's the excuse of like, oh, he's just shaking off the rust, but he didn't practice for a long time. But like, that excuse only goes so far. Definitely. I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. We can't raise a scooter our way out of this situation. Oh man, remember those things? Those little scooters with like the plastic wheels. Here's a fun little bit of Hazel lore. I actually wiped out on one of those things when I was a kid. I was going down a hill and I basically just hit kind of a divot in the sidewalk. I'm pretty sure I like literally went over the handlebars of the Razor scooter, smashed my head right into the sidewalk, needed stitches. First and so far last time I ever needed stitches. Actually, not true. There's been other times, but that was the only time I actually needed a wound stitched up. Yeah. Yeah, so actually, those Razor scooters are unsafe. I can't believe they're even still allowed to sell them. They still exist. I was like riding that thing to school every day was the thing. Like I was riding it on sidewalks and there was hills and stuff. Like, yeah, that was pretty nasty. She identified herself clearly and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. It's too bad we can't ask Detective Arm about her actions, because she is, in fact, dead. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure. Walk our dog? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to sell those things, to be honest with you. Detective Arm is now unarmed. High gravity. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so. Boop, 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 boop. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. But, however, actually, we found a bullet hole, didn't we? But only one. Seems awfully convenient to the killer that a star witness who openly shot at the killer is now dead. Man, that's pretty good for Black Quill. That's really good for him. Interesting. Very interesting. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? You doubt my words? Words that will someday be written down in history books? Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so we can all understand? You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. What? Only one bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. And yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book. Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirm that the 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun. But there was only one bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! Phoenix has pretty good sprites in this game, I have to say. You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. Can't you tell if individual bullets are from a specific gun? Like, there's actually, like, you can actually inspect a bullet and know exactly what gun fired it, if you have something to compare to. Couldn't we just check for that? The rifling marks also match. Oh, okay, well, that explains it. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Man, that seems weird, though. Oh, they restored the finger wiggle? Oh, nice. It feels so essential, for sure. Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? And examining the rifle marks on a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from. Ah, I see. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. He has it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I'd better update the record. Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? Well, I have a feeling we're faking it till we make it, so no, it doesn't. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh? Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a third person at the scene? Didn't we? Right, there's another bullet. This one's from a .10 caliber handgun. This one's from a very small. This one's a very small bullet. That one's big. This one's small. And what is this metal pellet supposed to be? Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. And it looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a .10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers. Then that means... Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire .10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha ha ha! It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. What's this now? Okay, he's just kind of casually trying to change the story then? What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Ha ha ha, well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know? Bruh. Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along. Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom, you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony. Man, he's not helping very much, is he? Perjury Cosmos. God blast, Your Honor. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Okay, given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean that the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock. Objection. Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it is you who is cut down. Huh? Your reasoning could apply if Space Boy were the killer as well. I feel like Black Quill's whole deal just does not work on Phoenix. He doesn't have any. He doesn't know anything about the weeb cred that he has. He's just like, huh? What's he talking about? He's like, yeah. He just goes into like this. He goes into the like this big monologue, and writes just like, what's Blood yapping about? What's this guy talking about? Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person. But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police. Third person was Yowie Chaos. Yeah, unfortunately, there's really nobody who can correct him at this point. That's the problem. Nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them. Maybe Aura had something to do with it. She kind of has a whole thing where it's like, well, no, she didn't. She saw the person, but she didn't see the crime take place, I think. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute. But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon. It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit. I did forget all about that. Look, your baldness. How deliciously obvious is it that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us, just like that. Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? It hit me. So does that mean you're a ghost? I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls. Hi, chickens, welcome. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Glad you made it. Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again. He's so mean to the judge. He's such a sopping wet cat. Black Will's really cute, honestly. He's just teasing at this point. He's so teasy. I think he didn't know such thing. Yeah, I get. Yeah. Yeah, didn't we discuss that the detonator switch might have been planted on the Mentown? Great to hear. Great to hear. Honestly, this case has been really fun. I'm liking the pace of it so far. I feel like we are actually hitting a stride with this. I definitely have some problems with the POV switching all the time and some of the ways they're treating some of the characters, but I think overall it's still a good experience. I'm having a good time with it. Are you sure? In that case, he's the baby. He's a baby girl among baby girls. Is the thing. How did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? Honestly, I think it might have actually been not like counterproductive, but I feel like playing Great Ace Attorney before this made me appreciate Great Ace Attorney a lot more, I think. Man, that game was those games were just so good. Those games are just so good. Yeah. I know a lot of people really love Aura in particular, so I was really excited to get to the case that she features in. Retweet. Heck yes. Yes. Source, do trust me. How did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. What? Dang, that's actually pretty lucky. That is pretty lucky. That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh, wow. Look at that. There's one extra Gyaxa star. Oh, yeah, it's a bullet hole. Whoops. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. Athena's really cool, yeah. I wish they did more with her, but she is cool, and her concept of using the computer, the feelings thing, that's really cool. That was it's a good mechanic. I like it a lot. And then they just randomly introduced Cyclops back into the game with this case after not featuring them at all. That was pretty wild. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Literally, she could have been the next big thing. They could have done so much with her. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. Hold it. We've already heard all about that part. Don't you have any new information? Well, let me see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Hot One miracle. Yeah, especially, I really kind of resent how this game treats Apollo in particular. They spend like entire portions of cases just being like, man, Apollo sucks. Like, okay, we get it. Like, okay, we get it. People didn't like that the last one didn't have much Phoenix. We get it. It doesn't mean you had to knock him down. He had his time. Yeah, it's almost, yeah, bringing him out of retirement is like, come on, man. This is a 32-year-old grandpa. He's an old man. Let him rest. It sucks. I really love 4. I really love 4. I'm not afraid to admit it. 4 is good. I like how it has a darker tone. I like its pacing. It's just really good. It feels like the things that happen in it actually have lasting consequences, you know? There are actual people at stake, and not just, you know, cardboard cutouts for the most part. I don't know. There was something to it. There was some kind of secret sauce that they had there, and then they just threw it away. They were just like, nope. But so they have still some good things still, but yeah. We know about that too. Tell us about something related to the incident. Phoenix's character arc is over after 3, so while we still love him, he's not needed here. Yeah, I think. Yeah, they needed to. Yeah, they just needed to like make him like bring him as an advisory role kind of thing, which is kind of what he did in 4 a little bit. But you could bring him back in that sense, where he's not like actively practicing, but he's still he's still around, but he's not doing that. I think that would have been perfectly fine. I see. You want to know about incidents. Well, then let me tell you about the many incidents that made me the man I am today. Yes, if you have the time, I will tell you all about the upbringing of this great man. He is stalling. My dude is stalling. You've told us all about that already as well. What we need now is your testimony. Did I really already tell you about my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked in through the control room door and... Yeah, I feel like, just go be a family man, basically. I feel like, yeah, even Trucy kind of got the shaft as well, because, like, she kind of is doing her own thing. I mean, she kind of always was. That was kind of the appeal in 4, that, there was a sidekick character, but she wasn't, like... She was kind of more along for the ride with you than, like, actually working with you. She was just kind of doing it, but then now she's just kind of here all the time, and they don't, like, do anything with her. She just shows up once per case or so. Yeah, like Mia, exactly. Phoenix, yeah, true. Man, I miss Maya too. Actually, Maya's not gone. She's gonna appear again. I know that much, but like, she got done so dirty in 3. I'm sorry. I'm just like still mad about that. She went through so much crap, and there was just no resolution for her. Basically, they can't have Phoenix practicing it, but he had to be in the mirror. Yeah, he could be like practicing, but he's not doing the hard-hitting cases like that. I mean, that could kind of work in terms of, like, the arc of having a law type story. Because, like, okay, I'm comparing to Better Call Saul. It's a different thing. But, like, that had characters who were moving from, like, different kinds of law to, like, doing pro bono cases and helping out people who actually, really need help and actually need good representation. That could be, like, you could really make a point about, the transformative power of the law, how you can really help people as well as really hurt them. I feel like that's something you need to be really responsible about when you're writing this sort of thing. And I think they mostly did that well in this. Anyway, I'm rambling, but yeah. Imagine if Phoenix is like, oh no, I only do civil cases. I'm done with murder. I have a child now. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, I'm just doing some pro bono. I'm just doing public defender work. There's always public defender. There's always PD overflow, I can do well enough for myself just doing that. Thank you. Tangent, I forgot about that one. Format of the trials requires the protagonists to be on the back foot so they can have their turnabout. But like Phoenix being this experienced mentor clashes with that, which is why they reduced Phoenix to still being a bondhead. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's always got to be the twist. There's always got to be the, oh no, we're not actually going to get through this. But then we actually do get through it, and everything gets turned around, and we win, and everyone has a great day. Either as a victim or a bad guy. Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. Apollo, it's me. Believe in yourself. Laundry saw, blah, 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 yes. But it was so dark you couldn't see this figure's face, isn't that right? Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat 1 launch 7 years ago. If it's about that Hat 1 miracle again, you can sod off and tell it to a stray mutt. That's pretty good. Haha, excellent idea. No reason why the animal world shouldn't hear my greatness. And so they shall. But first, your testimony. What happened next? We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Okay, well, that's weird. That's kind of weird, isn't it? That's a little bit weird, huh? Because there's a bullet. We have the bullet we found in the gutter. We still have that bullet. It doesn't explain the bullet that we found. That's not from the same gun. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history? My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Ah, complete 180. Almost complete 180. Oh! This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round. That's pretty good. Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his metal. Of this, there is no mistake. But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were, in fact, not in the control room to the east, were you? I want to hang Tamagotchis on Simon's shades. Yeah. Get some, like, anime character charms on that thing. He needs to make a big, like, jingling noise when he walks, even more than he already does. Put like one of those fidget toys on it, you know. Walking eat-a bag. Yeah, he is the eat-a bag. You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director, if you don't tell the truth this time? Oh, there goes the chains. Anime charms flying everywhere. Yikes, his handcuffs! You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. Prosecutor going, no witness, you didn't approach from the north, you approached from the south. With no evidence he did so shouldn't work. Yeah, the only thing we can really say for sure is that he was in the south. We don't know what he was approaching. We don't know that he was approaching at all. He could have been outside. He could have been just standing there. He could have been totally lying in the first place. There's a lot of possibilities. But unfortunately, the only witness is dead. Wah wah. Yeah, like literally, he's making all these unproven statements. Like, come on, man. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. I guess that rules out the southern door, him being inside it, technically. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. Hack. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. Ah! My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? You were covering for the defendant. Isn't that right? Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I said that I was in the eastern control room, it would mean that the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. Dang, he really is Yaoi Chaos. He does it for the love of men. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. Yeah, he's sus. I think he's still hiding stuff from us, honestly. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said that I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes, the judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. If the third person isn't you and it isn't me, then who is phone? The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict. Objection! Oh, we're not done. Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? Well, it's Yaoi Chaos, of course. What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. Gah! What? What? Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. Gah! I've been hit on the starboard side! Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot. You're so cheesy, Athena. I love you. Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit on the port side. The enemy has called in reinforcements. Earth to Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask you that you return to reality. But my ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence. But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person or a Blackwell saw. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Haha, it looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one in the lounge. You were there in the lounge. Brace for further impact. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. It would be... bullet from Arm's gun. The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we've been looking for. Gah! The bridge is destroyed, losing altitude. All hands abandon ship. If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No, you've got it all wrong. What? The engines have started again. It's a miracle. I'm not going down yet. Witness, stop this at once and confess to the truth. If you don't want the history books to say that our great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth. Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? But the Cosmos revolves around me. Dang, you just boiled him down to his bare essentials. He really thinks he's the main character in everyone's lives. Somebody get me off this thing. Yep, that's going in my cringe compilation. Order in the court, and will someone please stop the witness from spinning? Man. The segway's pretty cool, honestly. I love a good set. I love a good motorized wheelie thing. Phew, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the metal. It's a 2020 documentary. Oh man, should have gone into theater, buddy. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No, you've got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding. Is he going to start piling on more lies? It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. To be continued. Hey, that's part 1 done. That wasn't too long. That was a good little tidbit. That was a good little morsel. That was a snippet, you might even say. pretty good. Yeah, I still think Yuri did something. This feels like it's basically his trial at this point. All right. Okay, I will be right back. I'm going to go grab another drink. And then we'll come back and continue this. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, hi. We back. And now, it is part 2 of the trial. And we're right back at it. Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this. Fine, I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped the control room. The killer? I've been aware of the killer since birth. I then went past the elevators and all the way around to boarding lounge 1 again. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene. What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness. Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person Mr. Starbucks and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you. No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall. That is an excellent point. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. Well, it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes, and... Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Dang, this guy was in like 3 places at once. My god, he's good. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll corroborate me. The director is not fibbing to the court, for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. Dang. So you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. and that you arrived on the lounge after that? Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling. As long as he has an alibi. We can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Yeah, apparently it works on galactic battleships, but also doesn't work in space, so they need to work out the tech on that, I guess. Oh, very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. What I really witnessed. Real, true, not clickbait. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and, well, the launch pad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. So you were shot at by the killer as well? And then they disappeared? Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Dang, I don't know, it hit your metal though. That would leave a pretty gnarly bruise at the very least. I think that would definitely hurt you, even if it doesn't kill you. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right, what a mess this is turning into. So, let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him. Judging by his metal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I am ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. The killer vented, but what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos. A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand. Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. I like how everyone else is referring to him as Miss Blackwell, but Simon still refers to her as Aura. I think that's just a cute little detail. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. Yeah. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Donald? I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? Huh? I like how she literally has to ask to be allowed to help. Oh my god, the writing does itself. It's crazy. I love it. So funny. While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. Dang, that's actually kind of a hard line. This is extreme therapy. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. Why is he mad about that, I wonder? That's a little interesting. I tried to inside fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. Oh, weird. He doesn't seem to feel any sort of way about that. Why would that be? Why is he not surprised about that? You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet, at that time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why you... Urgh. I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. The area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. And as for the southern door, I was standing right there, so there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe, or maybe not, you went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge, Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself, via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him. Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. Okay, what do we got? I'm reaching into his brain and feeling around a little bit. Near the elevator side door. And well, the launchpad 1 door. Hey, wait, why is he sad about this? Why is he scared? What's that about? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door. The great Yuri Cosmos afraid? And at what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I'm most certainly not. Director Cosmos, there's something about the launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there? My god, this guy's a piece of work. You can't get anything out of him. Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those 2 pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. Presto changeo, less discord. It looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Athena. That'll make sense of what we learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad 1 door. When we put these two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? Oh, through the corridor. Yeah, that's what he was uneasy about. The corridor. The culprit went through the launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to starboard. We're going to crash into an asteroid. A master tactician, you are not. But the area beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. But that door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock, do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. Oh, oh, wait, yes, it was Starbuck, right? That was the fingerprints we found. That's why he's in the hot seat in the first place. Oh my god, I figured it out. That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. That's a slam dunk right there. Ah! It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Huh? Oh, yes, by all means. There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1. Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic? Oh. I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Oh my, the footage cuts off. Oh, right, yeah, I forgot about that. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. They could have been removed. In fact, I think they probably were. I think that maybe Cosmos removed them. Could have easily just pulled the plug. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There was no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea, too. Just because your grandchild is watching for the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. He literally used his last remaining brain cells to cook up that one. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. It was a fair question. He's running circles around this guy. It doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Baldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild? I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must... I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. Oh, there's more. But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. And then the detective shot at me. Oh, huh. Okay, so seeing there's a lot of surprise here, but there's only a little bit of surprise when he gets shot at, literally shot at. That seems weird. Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective R found you, and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Feelings, that's not. Yeah, feelings are not productive, you know? Man. Pardon me? First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were, of course, again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprised reaction is the fact that you were more surprised when Arm came. Sure, you were surprised when she shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. Ah. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence operation hide under your desk. Ah! Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. Oh, he's getting cooked. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launchpad door. Whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door. Maybe we could spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that. There is a change. Something's definitely different. Wait, I didn't actually see anything. I wasn't paying attention. Director Cosmos. What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective R found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Hand reader. Don't be ridiculous. If you do really have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already. He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. It was the hand raider? Oh no, was it this? We did talk about this. The knob. The answer is this knob. Hey! That's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Yeah, it was the other side. Yeah, there we go. They should really show you a comparison shot if you weren't paying attention the one time they showed it. Take a look at the knob next to the launchpad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However... When we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. What does that mean? It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. Yeah, they swivel the whole thing around. Back when they had budgets for this kind of thing. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the Launchpad to the launch site. I don't think so. The Launchpad corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then, where did the killer escape to? I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the Launchpad in more detail. Fine, but listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. Why is he happy about that? That's immediately suspicious. That's immediately suspicious. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet when you did it, you felt some joy as if you were very pleased with yourself. How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So, care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. How do you know about that too? Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never, ever tell you, so there. I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake. And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity? Silence. Oh, it's about time he piped up. Haven't heard from him in a while. You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. But Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar an honor. Boom, roasted. Liar! His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions. My, how naive you are. Thank you. That's good. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene. What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the Launchpad? Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar! But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where this killer escaped to. You're sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out? Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Damn, you finished him with that one. Talk about hitting below the belt. Hey! Oh! Youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh. Wait a minute, maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob, not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. Ngag. Hang. You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Oh, right. So, to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Boom. Ah. Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launch pad must have been moved, but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket. Oh. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. Huh? Prosecutor Blackquill, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if when the director moved Launchpad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull and I'll cut you. Oh, dang, you really said bull. This game is rated M for mature. They should let them swear a little bit. If you're gonna go M rated, you might as well go all the way, right? Well, okay, maybe not. But this game is M rated. Until January 24th, this game is going to be M rated. M for murders, yeah. How Phoenix yelps. Yeah, he's kind of yelping a little too much. What's Blood yelping about? I know, right? Let him say the F word. Oh, sorry. Knocked my mic. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once. I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was to switch it with another place? That's gotta be it. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what could he possibly have switched the Launchpad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with Launchpad 1. I mean, the only other building would be the Space Museum, right? Or the only other thing that can be rotated. It's gotta be that. Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum? In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1, and can even be moved to the launch site. Meaning, the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean... The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. Whoa. What? Balderdash! Dang, even Simon got by that one. And yet is the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right, and with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 2 from boarding lounge 2. Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2. Gosh, and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from boarding lounge 2. Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Exactly. Anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There is no fingerprint recognition system on that door. Oh, that's actually a pretty big security problem, to be honest with you. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. Ah. After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure. Hi, Bluffy, welcome! Good to see you! That would be so messed up. There is a lot of guys on the moon right now. Actually, nobody's on the moon. We're too busy doing murders to go to the moon. Keeps happening like that. Who, we can suppose, after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back. Moon's haunted. No time to explain. Moon's haunted. Without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. Yeah. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Nah! This guy keeps doing this. This guy's done this like 10 times already. Right, Dodo. I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Sword Master Bluff. Not to be confused with Bluffy. I'm sorry. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many a prosecutor. That was for you. He said that for you. Your impact. Oh my god. But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right. You have no proof I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. Heavy hangs the crown, right? While you were in space, I studied the blade. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Even in space, safety first. Oh wait, it's like an astronaut with like a seatbelt on. That's actually very cute. Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? Huh? That number on the floor. 1. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. Oh, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. And if this is just another bluff? Oh, don't worry, it's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that, beyond this door, is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then, answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum? I see a 2 right there. It's obvious. Oh man, if he was just a little further back. Well, I don't know, I guess this is video footage. But still, they weren't expecting that to cook them, were they? There's a 1 on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? Floor 2. It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? Peggle jump. Wasn't the Peggle jump guy at E3, which they just recently announced is not going to be a thing anymore? Man, what an end of an era. Where else are we going to get Reggie saying my body is ready? You're never going to get that again. The court is absolutely full lord. Hey! Hey! Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Ah! Oh my god, his HP is so low now. Ah! And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 on the side opposite the Space Museum. And now that we know 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous... The trans line is really good, honestly. I think I have a couple of Pride ones. Let me take a look. Hang on. Oh, yes, I do have it. Yes. I have the lion. Let's go. The mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran carrying Mr. Starbuck. That's Pride. Lion. Oh my god, we got Pride, Lion. We got Joel, Pride. They're friends. Simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. Yes, exactly. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. This guy has not said a word for like a while now. He just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. Whoa. Well, there you have it. Bye-bye. I love how it says that. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. My honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine, ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory. This is a really good breakdown. Oh, he's gone. No, not that way. That's some Looney Tunes stuff right there. But bailiff, on your steed, and after that witness. His steed is also a Segway. He has one of those scooters. Oh, he's so sopping wet cat right now. He is such a sad little man. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched Launchpad 1 for the Space Museum. It is good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question... One moment. I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. Yeah, like, how we listen? Yeah, we can't trust anything he says. He's completely compromised. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught up in that blast. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff helped the director retrieve his stars. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? Oh, hello. Finally, we get to see him for a bit. I don't get it. Don't get it? What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us. Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy. I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director, will I ever get the chance to go into space again? Oh man, this sucks. Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. Then the dream is still alive. Oh, wholesome.
Silence.
You're not going into space, Starbuck. But prison, I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pads really were switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof that this third person's escape via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. He's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. What? Me? Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. If I'm going to die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Wait, what? Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. Who was that? That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It could be none other than... Oh, it's our boy Bobby! Champion of righteousness. Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trust. Everybody say in justice we trust. Come on. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I'm hoping not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. In justice we just. In justice we just. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing okay. I like how we have the unity. It's good. We can workshop that. That's good. Good job, guys. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady across the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice sure is a full-time job. Dang, I'm kind of like coming around on Bobby, honestly. He has mostly kind of just gotten in the way up until this case. What is it? Was it a fight between cats or... why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. Robert... Hey, his badge says Bobby. Is that his full government name? Bobby Fulbright? I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope, but it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. Fulbright is really good. What evidence? Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence. Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm gonna work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. I didn't think he was serious, though. Dang, everyone's coming around on Bobby. We love Bobby in this house. So what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter? That's right, a lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it. Oh, wait, that's pretty good. Ah! That's a lot. Bobby comes in clutch. Order, order. Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet. Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent. This is it. This is just what I needed. Oh my God, it's happening. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with lighter in hand to the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Whoa. I wonder what it's like to be on that when it's switching. It must give you some kind of like... You must like stumble over a little bit, right? Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. He straight up used his alt. Oh my God, yeah. That's really good. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in boarding lounge 1 after the murder. A fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there. Ah, but the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time? You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackquill. This lighter could have only been dropped by the real killer. Love mysteries that involve physically revolving, chasing the scene of the crime to have evidence come to light. Gotta be one of my favorite genres. Very true. It's very good. Literally, it's literally flipping the chessboard around, you know? It's literally this is one of the cases where you actually have to apply chessboard thinking, because it literally flipped around. Ugh. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. Gah! This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackquill, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow... Huh? Tomorrow what? What's happening tomorrow? Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Oh? Oh? What? What are we talking about? I want to know. Loop me in. I want to know. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Huh? Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent, in light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. Yeah! Hot! Milky! Woo! There he is. I look forward to his illustrious movie career. Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? With some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me too. You all are the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. It's gonna have to wait. Yeah, actually, you'll be interested to know why that is. We're actually gonna probably bridge into another case with this one. Now that the verdict has been reached, I think this is one of the cases like the last one where they have a two case finale. I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. There you have it. Objection. Oh, okay. Just gotta get the last word in, huh? It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. But Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fool Bright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results? Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and, well, I kind of got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbuck's, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to? Wait, what? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes. So says the report. What? What? Huh? Me? Hello? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Order, I say, order! Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit. What? This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? Oh no. Ah, what have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Something is happening here. Somebody's been stitched up, I think. Bobby doesn't seem to be wearing socks. Oh no, dude. You gotta wear socks. Order, order. Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Order, order. I will have order. That's what we're at? Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. And that's Cosmic Turnabout. Oh my god. Illustrations and anime cutscenes have been unlocked. Okay, cool. We got an imposter among us. This is Among Us. Oh man, oh man, they didn't even let me. No one can escape their past. Their past. Okay, we'll watch this. We'll keep going for a bit. I'm cool to keep going. We're coming back to this, huh? The sins we've committed and the sadness we've caused. She went baby mode. Wait, that's Simon. But he looks different. What happened with Athena and Simon? No matter how far we run, our past remains, as ever present as the moon in the sky. We still have no idea. Yuri certainly wasn't helping his case, though, for sure. God, what a cool opening. That's so cool. It looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on in hope towards tomorrow. So here we are, same day. They took Athena from the courtroom straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. Oh, this sucks, man. Yeah, this is almost real time. Haven't gotten that timing right until this case, I think. Oh man, I hate it when I'm in a time loop and I didn't manage to break the cycle. I hate it when that happens. After this past year, I took it for granted that those two would always be here. But now, Apollo has gone off on his own to seek his own truth. Oh, right, yeah, I could have sworn I heard that before. I could have sworn I was getting some deja vu. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. Oh, hi, Trucy. You're the only character literally remaining, and so you're going to be in the story. Oh, no. It's even quieter in here than usual. Yeah. It seems so empty, too. I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was. At least based on what we know. But now Athena is the one who's being accused. During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center. The lighter used by the real culprit was found. I guess we can change it. We should probably change the title. Gosh, this is the last case, folks. We are getting into the thick of it now. The lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder. But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense. No, none of it does. I've been racking my brain, but I just can't figure it out. Where is the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong in this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Trucy's right. The trial is tomorrow. The turnabout for tomorrow is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocence, I'd better get out there and find some evidence. Off we go then. We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence. Are they really going to bring back Trucy as an investigation partner in the last case? Okay, fine. I guess better late than never. They could have done it all this time and they just didn't. Great, but before we go, I'd better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. Oh, we're doing the unnecessary evidence thing. Athena is probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Trucy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. Oh, I'm gonna talk to people at the Space Center. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh. Okay, so we move to the entrance. Yeah, never let them see your full hand. November 20th. Cosmos Space Center, Extrans. Oh, you again. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute? Ugh. Galactic scooter. Full speed ahead. Well, I mean, yeah, what do you say to that, right? Director. He scooted away. His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy. Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. Okay. Okay, I guess we're gonna move to the boarding lounge. Everything seems almost normal here. Except for that, body outline in the corner there. We were here only yesterday. Oh, hey. Hey! Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep, and I came straight here. This is all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You've given me a second chance to fly into space again. I can't thank you enough. Except... What's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. He saw Athena? I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then, you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I can just picture it. Aww. But I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's got to be suffering. She must be so worried. And yet she went on her way to be nice and give me that big smile. Oh, Athena, we're going to get you out of there. You're not supposed to be there. She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena. There's no question about it. That girl is innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the very best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be all right with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo has a fine boss to look up to. Aww. Man. About the murder. I still can't believe Launchpad 1 was switched with Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? I haven't the foggiest idea. Huh. So there never was going to be a launch that day. Not from the very beginning. I wonder if Clay knew. I imagine he must have. Surely he would have noticed when you went to board the rocket. It's pathetic to think I was the only one who got taken in. Huh. But I guess that's about how it goes when you're worth less than space debris. Is he gonna be alright, Daddy? His expression looks as dark as a black hole. Well, that's just how he is. The murderer. Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really. I only saw a shadowy figure in the dark after all. Yeah, I guess that was a little too much to hope for. Hey, I heard something from the police, though. They said they never did find a 10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought, the culprit must have carried it away with them when they escaped. So was the person you saw holding a gun, Mr. Starbuck? I couldn't really tell. But it wasn't Athena, right? Could you tell if the person was male or female, tall or short? I can't even tell you that much. Man, I'm useless. When the culprit opened the door and some light came in, I should have been able to see. The door. Ah, yes. That door. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made us their escape. The door to Launchpad 1, right? Yeah, except right now the door leads to the Space Museum. You mean the Launchpad and the Space Museum are switched right now? Yeah, they're trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. So they're recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Mr. Starbuck, could you open this door for us? Sure, just let me have my print scanned here. All right. Switching the launch pads. Do the launch pads get switched back and forth a lot? Well, back when the Space Museum was Launchpad 2, they used to switch the pads around at times. But these days, Launchpad 2 is only used as a tourist attraction, right? Right, because quite frankly, the Space Center needs the money. I hear you. Times sure are tough. Daddy, let's go check out what's beyond that door. Sure, let's go. Hey, why don't I come along? I can show you around. Cool. Oh, man, we really zoomed. Oh, hey, what's that over there? What's this right here? Leaf? Huh? I wonder what these dead leaves are doing here. Maybe they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes. There are lots of trees around the Space Center. She's right. It's a modern, state-of-the-art building, but it's surrounded by trees. But, I don't know, if they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes, wouldn't they look more crushed up? These don't look like they've been stepped on. Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor and they came in that way? Not everything is set up like a magician's stage, you know. Okay, there's got to be something more to that. I wonder if Aura did something. I'm not saying she's the murderer. I'm just saying she was outside on a ladder. She could have been outside and crouching on leaves. Right? I'm just spitballing here. So this is another one of those devices for opening the door, huh? Yep, but this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. You just hit the button and open sesame. So when you and Clay went through here, you didn't need to show your prints either. That's right, Trucy. Just like how the culprit didn't need to scan their prints when they escaped back out of the Space Center corridor, Space Museum corridor, into Boarding Lounge 2. Okay, that was updated. That's important. Well, I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. And I imagine this corridor is built exactly like the Launchpad 1 corridor. Okay, that's all we've seen there. Okay, we're gonna actually move back to the entrance. Maybe our boy Yuri Cosmos is feeling a little bit less moody now. There he is. Ugh, curse the wretch who sullied my good name. Reverse course at full speed away. Director Cosmos, wait. I'll handle this, Daddy. Take that. What did you do? Ah, the mobility system has been compromised. Trucy's knife throw was a direct hit to one of his tires. Okay, that's kind of Trucy. Whoa, dang! And the streak continues. What kind of streak? Okay, you can't do the bleh thing when you just destroyed a guy's tire. She just got somebody's. She just did a drive-by, and this is the face she's doing. Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what tricks she's been practicing. My dear old battleship, we fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor. Daddy, he's gonna blow that thing up. Nah, I bet all that button will do is make it go haywire again. Very well. I surrender. As a prisoner of war, I expect to be treated honorably. Okay. Switching launch pads. Director Cosmos, when you were talking in court about switching the launch pads, you used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the two launch pads to begin with. Literally. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The center of the cosmos is shrouded in mystery, but I don't have any secrets left. Now that my battleship has been destroyed and I've been taken prisoner. Oops. Oh no, here we go again, dude. No secrets left, huh? I beg to differ. Looks like I'll have to undo his psych locks if I want to get to the bottom of this. Magatama time! Behind the switching of the launch pads. I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the two launch pads. I refuse, you can't make me. I can hold out longer than anyone. I hope I never get like this when I'm old. Now let's see, where to start. This is how you explained your motive for switching the launch pads. You did it to... What was it? Save the astronauts? Thanks to you switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injury from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket, far away from the actual explosion. My astronauts were raring to go out on an authentic adventure in space. How do you propose I had them board a fake rocket without them noticing? I agree you couldn't have done it without help. For one, they would have figured it out the instant they stepped into the Space Museum. You figured you could fool Mr. Starbuck once he'd been drugged with his medication, but... without the help of this person, it would have been impossible to pull your plan off. Ah, it's Clay. You must have gotten Mr. Terran to help you. He stole the tranquilizers from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. And then, with Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket in the museum. Ah, someone please help this poor prisoner of war. How is he able to spin around like that? If you really wanted to save the astronauts' lives, shouldn't you have just called off the launch? If I could have done that, do you think I would have gone to all that trouble? I guess he must have had a compelling reason why he couldn't call it off. But how did you know to switch the pads in advance of the bombing incident? Well, that's because I was warned in advance. Once I received that warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronauts' safety. But it was just a warning. It could have even been a prank. Why did you believe in it so completely? Because I went to one of those mediums that everyone's talking about these days. Oh, I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. What? Didn't we establish that that's like a big thing? Didn't we spend like a bunch of cases doing that thing? It's not really a fad, it's kind of a thing, isn't it? Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via telephone. Yes, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see. AKA a regular old telephone. It's been a while. Planning another launch? I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call. The bomber said, "It's been a while?" And that was enough to make you take the threat seriously? Perhaps Director Cosmos took the threat so seriously because the Space Center had been involved in a bombing once before. Maybe the culprit in the current case is the same person who was involved in this incident. Oh, the Hat One Miracle. The Hat One Miracle, that epic story of survival. People across the nation know it now as a heroic tale of bravery. But in truth, it was an act of sabotage perpetrated by our current killer, wasn't it? Very few knew about the previous plot, so when the caller said it's been a while, you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the danger was real, and it wasn't a prank. Ah, didn't anyone tell you to go easy on an ex-serviceman? Absolutely not. Get out of here, boot boy. Oh, you wanted military discount? Get out of here, boot boy. I'm kidding. I'm not. I am not. Based as heck. Yes, the Hat One Miracle was really a desperate battle against an act of sabotage. I even lost the life of one of my staff members in the fight. Sabotage, murder. So this is the ugly truth behind the Hat One Miracle. I let my guard down. I thought the saboteur had been caught and that the case was closed. Huh? Wait. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago? This must be the person Director Cosmos thought was the culprit. Oh. Simon. Something happened 7 years ago. Simon Blackwell, the murder suspect in a case that happened here 7 years ago. The place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same. So you thought that he committed both crimes. But while Prosecutor Blackwell was behind bars, you got another threatening call. If the culprit this time is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken. It meant the true culprit's been running free all this time. How do you keep seeing straight through me? Get owned. Successful. Alright, tell me the truth. The reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched the launch pads. Ride's over. Get off. We are closed. Is connected to the truth behind the Hat 1 miracle. The sabotage and murder that happened at this space center 7 years ago. Director Cosmos, tell us what you're hiding. If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads. Or we'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago. 7 years ago? You mean the so-called Hat 1 miracle? The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was all the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme. So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered. Are we gonna prove Blackwell's innocence? That would be kind of sick, actually. If he didn't actually do it, I want to see him walk free. I think he needs to be untethered from this realm. Untethered from the realm of prison and into the world. What will he do? Wow, I had no idea such awful events were behind that exciting story of space heroism. All that in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You couldn't even smuggle a withered old leaf through those checkpoints. Hey, we found a leaf, didn't we? So, do you have any clue who is responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. A spy? You mean someone who infiltrates a foreign country? Carries out dangerous missions? And always gets the girl? Someone's watching way too many late-night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind it all. The spy. Make no mistake, there's cutthroat rivalry between nations in the space R&D race. Some try to outdo others by any means possible, even deliberate destruction. 7 years ago, we got a call before the launch warning us of sabotage. The same MO as this time. Yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looks like I was wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think? Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing? But there's a good reason we failed to find the real spy. A massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy. Don't tell me they made the police rush to the investigation. They did indeed. And then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story. And that was the Hat 1 miracle, wasn't it? But then 7 years later, the same MO, advance warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. Just like 7 years ago. Toe to tip, that's just like 7 years ago. The spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it? That's right. The caller knew the facts of this case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, "You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?" I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me. We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We must proceed to our country's honor. It was quite a moving speech, actually. Moving? Really? Maybe if you're easily inspired by political talking points. Ha ha ha! Faced! But I knew the truth. We had been warned, which meant the danger was very real. And I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched the launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. Huh. Very fascinating. First, I snuck into the center the night before and switched the launch pads. That way, the astronauts would go from boarding lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Then I put a closed for repair sign at the door to launch pad 1 in boarding lounge 2. You did that so normal visitors wouldn't enter, right? What else did you do? I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Terran. But you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it? He'd already been thorough enough, and he's not good at lying to keep it a secret. I'm afraid I had no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until... Clay's murder, huh? After the culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pads back. I did it in such a way that no one would find out. But after all that effort, Terran is dead, and the hat too is destroyed. And the Hope capsule, which had returned to us only recently, was also lost in that blast. My home, the center of the cosmos, my beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for. Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in that blast? You want to elaborate on that, buddy? I thought that the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with asteroid samples inside. So what kind of samples are they? What's in them? The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We haven't had time, so they just came back the day before Terran's murder. The capsule was being held in a safe in Launchpad 1. But I gave it to Terran before the incident, so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion. The idea was that, with it safely in Terran's possession, he could make it look like he rescued it during the staged miraculous escape. But our precious research materials ended up lost to that explosion anyway. But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe. You misunderstand. The launch pad explosion wasn't the one that with the capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. Of course the cops were incompetent again. There's so many cases that you could explain just the cops were incompetent. They totally borked the investigation. That probably happens more than a lot of people realize. It was the courtroom bombing from the other day. The capsule was there in the courtroom as evidence and was blown to smithereens. Yet another casualty of that blast. Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads. What? How? The police found a wire tapping device during their investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship. A tap on my advanced communication system. A wire on that phone? Yes, a wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launch pad switch. Just to the few select members who knew about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of Launchpad 1. The culprit probably slipped with them amid the confusion. And planted the bomb then. Yes, if they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something like that off. So you really think the same spy is behind that incident and the one 7 years ago? Yes, I'm sure of it. Then this spy must be the phantom Prosecutor Blackwell has been chasing. But Prosecutor Blackwell told me once, the hunt I've been on for the phantom of 7 years past continues even still. For starters, that case happened right here at this very space center too. So if we can find this phantom, that's right, we can clear Athena's name. And then there's the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell too. What about him? Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as in the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent. That's still an if, though. I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. But if we're going on a ghost hunt, count me in. It's all over for me. Spin, spin, whirl, whirl. I'm done for. The center of the cosmos is doomed. Do you think he's going to be all right, Daddy? Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there he can spin with. Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into the Hat 1 mission, too. If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me, I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfolds. It's like he achieved spiritual enlightenment or something. I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum. Dang, he's just going to be spinning until we leave. That's crazy. All right. Spinlightenment, indeed. Well, we made actually much more time than I expected today. You will spin me right round, baby, right round. We made pretty good time today. I didn't think we were actually going to finish the last case. I thought it would be a little bit longer. But that's okay, because this one ended up being a two-parter. So, I wonder if we'll end up finishing next stream. I wonder if we'll end up finishing this. I don't know how long this next one is. I have a feeling it's probably pretty long. Last cases tend to be a bit longer. And also, there's a DLC, so we won't actually be finished. That'll just be the main game. There's a DLC case that we have access to. It's pretty long. Okay, got you. But we do also have a special episode, a DLC case called Turnabout Reclaimed that we will be playing after that. But I think that might be like a Rise from the Ashes type thing where it's very long. I'm seeing here it says there's like there's two trials and they're both two-parters on their own. So there is that. But yeah, we're not. I think. Yeah, I actually didn't factor that into my calculations on how long this would take. I was thinking we'd probably be done with this by the time the Apollo Justice trilogy comes out, and then we can play Spirit of Justice on the new port that's gonna come out next month. I might actually just do that, honestly. The reason I've been doing this this is on an Android port. This is an Android emulator I'm using. Like, I actually bought the app, but this is just an Android emulator running on my computer. It's not the most stable thing in the world. It mostly works, but I've had a few glitches with it. So I would really rather have this on a console. I'm really looking forward to being able to play this on a console and use my capture card. That tends to be my preference. I don't have the best computer. My computer is okay, but it doesn't run everything super duper well. Emulation tends to be a bit of a finicky thing just in general. But yeah, that's about where we're at. That'll be a nice way. Oh yeah. Anyway, that's going to be all for me tonight. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I am really tired. I've had a long few days. And then I've come on here and done this, which has been fun. I got enough sleep last night, so I'm not feeling too bad, but I'm still kind of wanting to rest. It is getting a bit late. I'm sure a lot of people are looking to head to bed soon. That was the end of my schedule for this week. I'm thinking I want to do my birthday is next week. It's actually on Monday. I was thinking of doing like a viewer night type thing where we could play like multiplayer games. People were suggesting like Gartic Phone, Jackbox. Those are easy ones because anybody can tap in. You can just use a browser. It even works on a phone. You don't need to buy anything for it. So those are probably the best options for that. I might do that on like Tuesday or Wednesday though. I will let you know. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe on Monday I might just want to chill out because you know it is my birthday and all. I have a feeling I might be doing some stuff on Monday, so maybe I actually want to just take that day to chill and maybe do that on Tuesday or Wednesday. It's not really that much of a difference. It's a weeknight either way. But yeah, I think that's probably what I'm gonna do. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I really want to. It's with the busy that I've been doing the last few weeks is gonna finally start to calm down starting around next week. So I'm gonna finally have some room to breathe. And then yeah, I'm actually gonna be on vacation first week of January. I'm probably not gonna be streaming like the first week of January. So I want to get a lot of stuff in before the new year. And then we'll start the new year strong. It'll be good. In the second week anyway. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter today, but that's good. I think that's good. Okay. We will play this. We will definitely return to this next week. We will return to Grand Theft Auto 5 next week. I skipped it this week because I was pressed for time, but we are gonna get back to that early next week. Yeah. Maybe I'll do like Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe I'll do like, oh, hi Fox. I'm just ending. I'm sorry. But we'll be back. I might do Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out tomorrow. I'll make my schedule tomorrow or the next day. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out, folks. This has been a very fun time. This has been a very fun case, and I hope you enjoyed your time. Thank you very much. Whoops. I just clicked on Twitch and it played a video for me. That's fine. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you on probably Monday or Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of your night, everyone. Bye. Good night. Thank you.